Alright, hey guys, this is Ornlu, and back with another tier list video. So, I'm kind of debating you guys a little bit by calling it a tier list because for the first four tiers, it's not civs, this tier is better than this tier is better than this tier is better than this tier. It's just they're different, right? They'll have different situations. And why am I being so wishy-washy? Well, it's because I'm talking about water maps as a whole. I'm not talking about just one map like Arabia. I could do an islands tier list, as that is in the map pool right now, but I did think that it would be more helpful to get a more broad view for water maps in general. I would say this is applicable to hybrid maps to some degree, but I'm definitely focusing more on the water-heavy maps, your islands, team islands, uh, even like a Baltic, maybe a Mediterranean, that sort of thing. So, without further ado, oh yeah, and then I'm gonna like the meh tier is just the civs that are like all right, and then bad is well, not great. So first, let's slam down these civs that I know about and want to talk about. So aggressive is going to be home of Mongols and Persians. Unless I'm forgetting something else, I think that's it. So these two civilizations are your aggressive water map civs. So this is why you saw them picked all the time on maps like Bay or Pants in Hidden Cup. Any time that there is a very quick rush distance on water, these are probably going to be some of your go-to civs. Yes, Persians are still going to be strong even after their nerf where they no longer have the Dark Age bonus. Still good. They still have the faster working docks. You can take back water with your super high HP docks, and then you have a super good boom, all that sort of thing. And if you're trying to hit your opponent fast, definitely these two civs are going to be what you want. I would say now that the Persians have been nerfed, I would say Mongols are a little bit better, just because you can get up super fast. So that's why we see them a lot on maps like, say, Golden Swamp. Now, for islands, I don't think these, or Migration is actually another great example of a defensive water map. I wouldn't go with these civs necessarily, just because the maps you can kind of run around more, or sail around more, I guess. And, backdocking is a lot more possible, beneficial, I guess. And I think that you should definitely stick to the more, aggressive water maps. They're also okay on maps like Mediterranean or something. Dash having very strong opinions. All right, flexible. Italians, next to Japanese. And again, unless I am missing something, I think that should be it. Again, like, I'm ranking all of the top four civs. They're equal in strength, just depending on what the map situation is. With that said, Italians and Japanese are what I call the flexible water civs. You can play them on any map that has water on it, in any capacity, and they're going to be pretty good. Islands, they're totally fine. Mediterranean, again, totally fine. Even like a Golden Swamp, they're totally fine. Japanese are gonna, I would say, stray a little bit more on the aggressive side, and Italians a little bit more on the defensive side, just because Japanese have the extra tanky fishing ships, and Italians have a little bit of a cheaper fish boom. You can get up to like Castle Age really quick if that's something you are looking to do. So I'd say that let's switch them around. Just say that Japanese are a little bit more towards aggressive, Italians a little bit more towards the greedier defensive side of things, and they're both really good. These are the top two overall water civs, you could argue, just in terms of overall strength, just because you can literally use them anywhere. You can do any strategy. You can be aggressive, you can be defensive. It's not like Italians can't go aggressive or Japanese can't go defensive. Like, they're just really good in all scenarios. And if you're looking to like just learn one civ for water maps, pick one of these two, or both. Now, as I so very, very subtly indicated, the next tier is Vikings. That's easy. So Vikings are a weird one. They're a really weird water civ, but in a good way. So there is no other civ like them, and that is because they lack the fire galley, and they have a super strong economy and the longboat unique unit. So, Vikings, I could have also called this greedy, but then that's like, it's just Vikings anyway, so just call it Viking tier. Now, this is a civ that you definitely want to play on the more defensively oriented water maps. I've seen people try and use them on like aggressive hybrid maps where like they go fast castle on land and then just try and take back water with longboats. I don't think that's the best approach. I haven't seen it. I've seen it fail more times than I've seen it succeed. And I definitely think you want to stick to your islands, your migrations. You can pull them out for like a team islands, which is kind of in the middle as far as like aggressive to defensive water maps go. And you don't need to fast castle with Vikings, but I would almost always recommend backdocking unless it's a Vikings mirror. If it's a Vikings mirror, you actually want to go super aggressive. It's kind of weird how that works, but that's just because you can just kill each other so easily. But yeah, because you lack the Fire Galley, and Fire Galleys, even with their train time nerf, are still going to be quite strong against regular galleys in low numbers. It's why you really don't want them to be in a aggressive scenario, like where you would be up against like a much faster feudal age time from Mongols or Persians, and then you're just getting run over before you can get your good numbers up and running. But if you haven't a map like Islands or Migration, which are, as I keep saying, the very sort of boomy, greedy water maps, there are other maps that you can, like, say, qualify as well. You can see the many water map team game tournaments where you see Vikings picked in lots of situations, especially Pocket. If you're playing like any sort of team game water map, Vikings Pocket. Just go for it. Get up to Castle Age quickly and make longboats. Longboats are really, really, really good. They are a little bit more expensive than the galley line, but they train much faster, move much faster, and you can maneuver them, like you can clump them together much more easily. And that just makes them way better. They scale way better. You can, packing more of them into a tighter space means that you have more ships attacking at once, especially if you're in like a narrow choke point scenario. And then on top of all of that, you have the amazing Viking eco with the free wheelbarrow and handcart. They're really definitely their own thing as far as water civs go, and they have their right place, but you do need to be a little bit careful with how you use them. I would say that they're a lot harder of a civ to learn how to play because it's much more execution focused than, say, Japanese or Italians, which I think are a little bit more forgiving. Now for the defensive civs, which don't usually go too well with water, but hear me out, guys. We're gonna put down here in no particular order: Berbers, Byzantines, Koreans, Portuguese. I feel like I'm missing somebody. I'll probably remind myself later and then slot them in or something. Anyway, these civs here, they're, well, more defensively oriented. Berbers, I really wouldn't suggest on like aggressive maps, but on a map like Islands, you can really just go for galleys right away and just outmaneuver enemy fire ships because they take so long to get to you if you backdock. It can be a really powerful strategy. I know I've mentioned it before in my videos. So if your micro is on par, if you're on Islands, just go Berbers. Like, it can be a really, really good civ as like on par with your Vikings or your Japanese Italians if you play them correctly. In a similar vein, Byzantines. Now, I would actually favor Byzantines more on the quote-unquote aggressive water maps, just because if you can sort of survive that very initial onslaught of your Mongol and Persian or even Japanese Italian players, then you can fall back to your super good fire ships. Byzantine fire ships are absolutely incredible. Dash, again, with very strong opinions. But, you can win a one-on-one in all fire ship fights. You have the Greek fire tech in Castle Age, well, late Castle Age, to give you extra range. Cheaper Imperial Age can be really helpful. Get that big power spike, same that, Italians get. Italians also get the cheaper dock tax, but Byzantines save more on imp, so, it balances out. And then, of course, you have the complete naval tech tree in late game. One of the only 2 civilizations, I believe, that can boast a fully complete water tech tree. Koreans, definitely a bit more of an interesting one to figure out how you want to work that out. You can play the really, really defensive style of like just going for some sort of fast castle into turtle ships in maps where there's like not a lot of like space to work with. There's a lot of like narrow channels for your turtle ships to be super strong, but turtle ships can be very, very, very strong in the right situation. But on top of that, remember, guys, they are 15% cheaper on the wood cost in the couple balance patches ago. But still, you can do a decent job in, a standard water play, as again, you have that wood discount for your ships. And then, although it's going to be much slower, quote unquote, than Japanese or Italians or whatever, you can start mixing in towers with like super long range and heated shot to start nuking your opponent's ships, and they're going to be so strong at securing like those neutral islands, like on the map islands, with the golden stone, and like they're just going to be one of the best civs at doing that. Like again, very slow, powerful, late game oriented civ, but you do have some tools to help you out in early game. In a similar vein, Portuguese. You have more ship HP, 10%, and you have more armor, and with the Karak upgrade at the castle. The gold discount on your units can be nice as well. Again, you don't really have that much of an eco bonus though, so that's why I would consider them defensive. But you also have the Caravel unique unit, which I personally don't think is very good, but if you're in like a super choke pointy scenario and you can just get all that splash damage going, then I guess you can, try and make it work, I believe. But again, you do have that little bit of a discount on your ships with the gold discount, and you do have the extra HP to help ease you through the early game. And what happens when you get to the late game is, one, you're overall saving more gold on your ships, so that is quite nice. But the big thing is the Feitoria, and this is going to be especially true on the full islandy maps, as they tend to run out of wood very quickly. Feitorias can just literally mean like auto win. That was the other civ I was forgetting. Where are they at? Where my Karambit boys at? Malay. Talking about auto winning in the late game. Yeah, but Portuguese, the Feitoria just generating infinite wood, food, gold, stone for you, but in this case, the relevant resources are wood and gold. It is like one of the few situations where Feitorias are incredible, and I have won games just by stalling the game out as Portuguese and just winning with Feitorias. It can be really good. It can be a totally legit thing, and I would at least recommend trying it if you're interested. And the forgotten Ornlu civ of Malay. Malay are a little bit weird. It's kind of like they're floating between the flexible and defensive, but I would put them more towards defensive because you'd rather go up with a little bit, with a few more villagers and having an overall stronger economy than just like clicking up super fast at like an aggressive civ. But the fact that you have harbors, infinite food fish traps. There was a Viper game versus Hera not that long ago on islands where Viper won due to the power of Malay infinite food fish traps and harbors being so hard to take out, kind of like Koreans in that sense. But your fish boom is incredibly strong. You have the faster age up can be used in so many different ways. Actually, no, wait a minute. No, not right as this video is being recorded, because Malay are currently broken and I don't think their age up bonus works. So not right now, but I'm sure that'll get patched soon. And yeah, I think that Malay definitely can be a very, very powerful civ, more so as the game goes on. So I put them in that more defensive-y category. And I would say that these are your top water civs. So how many civs is that? 5, 9, 10 civs. 10 out of the 35 civs I would consider all more or less around the same strength, just depending on the situation, depending on your playstyle. That does leave a bunch of civs over here. And I guess I'll rank them, but just know that if you're able to pick your civs, you probably don't want to go with any of these. That said, some civs that come to mind as like almost cutting it, I would say. Saracens, Spanish. That's probably it. Saracens have the market bonus they can abuse and the faster attacking galleys, but that isn't as helpful as you might think. And I would say that for civilizations that want to do like interesting things with their uptimes, there are already better options for that. And if you want to go for like late game power, there are also better options for that. So that's why I don't quite put them as high, but they're definitely not bad, right? Spanish, in kind of a similar vein, you like Byzantines, they have the full doc tech tree, but I kind of just think that Byzantines do what Spanish do better, to be honest. So that's why I wouldn't, again, quite rate them as highly. Then you have some like wackier civs like Vermalians. Here they are. Vermalians, like their late game navy is awful, but they're one of the best civs for going for landings. And that is just a completely different style of play on water maps that I didn't even, talk about when I was talking about these civs, because I was mostly trying to focus on the pure water thing. But I mean, landings are in some cases very predictable. If you see your opponent going Malians on islands, you're like, okay, let's look for that transport ship. But the cheaper wood cost on buildings gives you decent wood savings early on. Free gold mining upgrade can be nice, and then you just have like the world's biggest tech tree in Castle Age to do any sort of aggression you want. So they're going to be really good at that, but just they're awful in the late game. No galleon, no bracer. Very, very sad. I guess like Huns used to be a very competitive civ on water just because of the not needing to build houses does scale pretty well. But it's been eclipsed by newer civs and newer bonuses and stuff like that. And like I guess I could put like all the civs that have like okay navies and okay ecos. So like I guess I could put like, I don't know. I'll just put them in bad because I do think these civs are, I guess, a little bit of a step up. But I'll put them at the top. Like your Britons, Incas, just for the landing potential is so strong, although very predictable. Chinese are decent. Celts, again, more landing focused, but the wood bonus is really handy. Mayans, good economy, but you lack cannon galleons. What else? I guess Burmese get the wood bonus at least. No wood costing on the upgrades. I mean, there's honestly very little point in ranking the rest of these. Oh yeah, Turks get the extra long range bombard cannon galleons. And yeah, I mean, most of the rest of these civs are just not that great. I mean, Khmer, I guess, could save some wood, buildings here and there, but you don't really want to make farms as much, so not quite as good. And I'd say that I guess Ethiopians maybe, I don't know. Tatars actually have an okayish navy, but the rest of these civs are like varying degrees of terrible. Can I even put them on the tier list? Okay, I can. Yeah, Teuton Navy, bad. Aztec Navy, bad. Although you do get the faster producing ships, which is like okay, but I mean, you miss galleon. That's kind of, and cannon galleons. That's kind of a big deal. Bulgarians are probably the worst, honestly. Their navy is awful. Franks are down there. Slavs are down there. Lithuanians, I guess, could actually probably be bumped up a little bit higher, just because you can do an interesting thing where you because you have so much extra food, you can put some villagers on wood right away and get some early fishing ships out. That's just kind of a workaround-ish of what like Persians do. Lithuanians, I would say, much more of like a strong nomad civ. Yeah, Cumans, pretty terrible. Goths, pretty terrible. Rate them over here, probably. Teutons, probably. I don't know, here. Indian Navy's actually alright, so we're going to put them over here. And then Magyar's actually surprisingly decent naval tech tree, so we'll put them over here. But like I said, this isn't really what I would want the focus of the video to be. Like, the ordering here, like, really doesn't matter a whole lot to me. I just really wanted to focus on these 10 civs in particular, the various ways and that you can use them in certain scenarios on certain water maps. And yeah, I think that it is more than just pure Italians Wars or Vikings Wars. I think that you can use different civs in different situations, depending on the map and your playstyle. Or if it's a team game and you want to use a bunch of different civilizations, you can go beyond just going like Japanese, Italian flank, and then Viking pocket. Although that it does sound pretty good in like every scenario. But like, my point is there are other options out there and they're not bad. So that's pretty much the whole gist of this video. Definitely not like the longest tier list video ever, but like I said, I mostly wanted to talk about the top 10 civs because I talk about it on stream a lot, and I do think that they're all viable for ranked. So yeah, definitely go try them out, have some fun on those splish splashy water maps. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.